Hey out there, it's Playoff Central Live presented by State Farm. Good to have you with us as always. Steve Smith and the Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas. I'm Matt Weiner. Perspective on the end of Gregg Popovich's coaching career coming up a little later on. But first, a Game 6 in San Francisco with a pair of his protégés on the sidelines. The Warriors with the second of three chances to put away the two-seeded Rockets. Steph Curry's right thumb, a big subject of conversation lately. Seems okay. He's dunking. Got to be a sign of something, right?
Hit it on the rim.
Draymond Green throws Jalen Green down. This is like 3 minutes into the game. We've got a review and a flagrant foul already. But that was kind of the end of that sort of stuff in this game. Not nearly as physical that way. Curry, thumb seems okay. Curry turns it over.
Turnover is Achilles heel for the Warriors tonight.
Jalen Green, just 3 of 11 from the field with an easy one there. Green misses. Warriors throw away the rebound. And Dylan Brooks has a head of steam. Second quarter, Curry
against Brooks.
Feels the contact.
Wow.
And knows to toss it up. He had 11 in the second quarter, including the and one. Houston's lead down to 4. Curry's not done. 16 in the first half. But the Rockets maintained a 5-point lead as they hit the locker room. Third quarter, Fred VanVleet.
No, he got hot. Shot. He got hot.
What a force he's become in this series. On the other end, Jimmy Butler, long 2 and 1. He had 27 on the night, 9 boards, 8 assists. Houston's lead still at 3. Brandon Podziemski over to Curry for 3 of his 29. And that got the Dubs within 2. VanVleet past Brandon Podziemski, flips it up and home. Houston up 82-74. Golden State actually won the third by 3. They were within 2. And then things went sideways for them with a 4-point play to start the quarter. Rockets actually scored the first 6 points of the quarter, and Zeke basically didn't look back at that point.
No, not at all. I mean, you got Linguini here, you know, and he doing his thing in the middle. Adams underneath. It just looked too big, looked too strong. They got every loose ball, and VanVleet was just electric tonight.
6 of 9 from the great beyond. He had 29. Şengün with 21, 14, and 6 assists.
Linguini!
And Steven Adams has become a menace. 17 points, 5 boards, 9 of 16 from the free throw line as the Warriors continue to hack at him unsuccessfully.
Give him the game ball.
And Houston wins at 115-107. They gave him the game ball, he'd probably just go back to the free throw line because that's what he did all night, right?
Right.
VanVleet and Adams have emerged as major factors in the series. After going 6 of 29 from 3 in the first 3 games, VanVleet is 18 of 27 since, while Adams is a series best plus 53. All that adds up to Game 7 on Sunday.
I don't know. Probably just my personality. And now, as I get a little older, being able to play in enough of these games to realize, you know, a calm, steady mind is the best path forward, and not getting too high or too low and not getting carried away, trusting the work, trust your teammates, and things usually work out, you know, in the big picture.
You move past the 2 losses, they don't matter. A Game 7 is Game 7. I think anytime you had the opportunity to play in a Game 7, it's fun. It's exciting. It's for all the marbles. So move on. I mean, we've moved on. Learn from what we did wrong. It's kind of obvious what we did wrong. Get ready for the game. But I think Game 7s are fun.
It just feels slower. It feels like, most Game 7s are kind of rock fights. There's a different vibe. There's a nervous vibe with the home crowd. And there's just a sense of, all right, we're finally here. It's been 2 weeks and both teams throwing haymakers at each other and all that. And That's why people love watching them at home. Game 7s are special, and they're fun to be a part of.
The Warriors are 3-1 under Steve Kerr in Game 7s, but Smitty, they're facing an increasingly confident young Rockets team. The veterans were huge in this game, but you can see in the fourth quarter, they played and acted like a team that was the 2 seed, not the underdog.
Right. And turnovers are going to be huge. And usually we would say that should be the Rockets because they're the younger team. The Golden State Warriors, these last 2 games have just turned it over. You can't give Houston extra possessions. And I think Draymond said it the best in the postgame. They got to get all the loose balls. And I think now it comes down to Steve Kerr. Does he play big? Does he play small? Does he play Kuminga? They have a lot of things that they have to figure out. But the one thing they do have, Isaiah, Steph Curry, so you just never know.
Yeah, they have the best shooter in the game. And, he will always keep you in the game. And you can always run offense through him or around him. Houston has figured out a way to negate his big explosive moments. And consequently, they're forcing other people to score. I'm not sure where Kerr goes in terms of adjustments, but clearly he's going to have to make one. And we talked about Kuminga being a wild card. But, Houston right now, playing big, playing small, playing confident. And if Green and Van Fleet get on together at the same time, it can be a tough Game 7 for Golden State.
Van Vliet's shot making has been massive the last couple of games, but these big lineups with Adams and Şengün, sometimes Adams, Şengün, and Jabari Smith, have become a real problem in this series for Golden State.
Yeah, we talked about, the rebounding of Adams, and we talked about the weight that he throws around in the middle of the lane. And Draymond Green even spoke to that about how, he's given up 6 inches in size, but he's also given up 50, 60 pounds in weight. And that wears on you. And in a Game 7, after you've seen these guys 6 times and everybody knows each other plays, right? These are the things that matter.
On the other side here, the season's first Game 7 tips in Denver Saturday. What to look for in a do-or-die Saturday, do-or-die playoff game when the Clippers and Nuggets get together to decide their first-round series. Coverage starts at 7 Eastern time on TNT. Home teams are 4-2 in this series and have won just under 72% all time in those series deciders. After a grinding series, time to give a little more.
I know it's late, but you did play 47 minutes. There was a yawn in there. Get some energy.
Tired.
Yeah.
A little bit.
You got another 47, 48 in Denver? Or is it?
Yeah, have to. Like, it is what it is. I miss a part of it. So whatever the team needs, 47, 48, overtime, whatever, I'm willing to do it.
If someone loves basketball, I think this is the series to watch. I think it was an amazing basketball game. You can see one team is going down, then Lillard runs, and then the stars playing on their level. I think it's if you like basketball, I think this is the games that you should watch.
We know each other's plays. We know what we're trying to do. We know how we're trying to exploit mismatches, and we just got to go for it. Lay everything out on the line, and these are what you live for. Growing up as a kid, being in the playoffs, Game 7s.
You win those last 3 games, not just to stay out of the play-in, but to get the home court in Game 7. Bottom line, and we earned it. Now you have the opportunity to go home in front of your home fans and advance.
But no, it's not the first rodeo for the big stars. You see the records and the point production for Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Jamal Murray, and Nikola Jokic in Game 7 situations. This will be the 256th do-or-die game in NBA playoff history. That means Game 3s way back when, Game 5s way back when, Game 7s as well. What's the key, regardless of the teams, what's the key to the teams who come out successful in those situations?
Well, home court advantage definitely helps. And believe it or not, it comes down to the little things. Loose balls, making free throws, and rebounding. Who wins those 3 battles? The shooting is going to be the shooting. As Ty Lue said, everybody knows each other's plays. Everybody's prepared. You got great players. But the intangibles, right? Who gets that loose ball, right? Who makes that free throw? Who gets that block out, right? Who misses that defensive assignment? Those are the things that are going to win or lose the basketball game.
And I think also Zeke said it best. Just to add to that, the team that's not emotional. A lot of time, Game 7s, the young guys is start to get emotional, start to complain a little bit more on calls. It takes you out of it. I know the biggest thing is missing an assignment. And then next thing you know, you start pointing fingers. Everybody starts getting into it. And then you have what I love about it. It's 4 guys that can really take over this ball game in Game 7s. We looked at Jokic's numbers, but he averages 16 and also 7 assists, 2.2 block shots. He can really take over the game in more than just scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamal Murray, I'm just so scared of Jamal Murray in closeout game. He is a guy that can flat out shoot it, so it's going to be good. Zeke, what's your thought on the 4 guys? Is there an advantage for a guy who can pass the ball at an elite level, also score?
I would say Jokic has the advantage because all those guys that you just named, when you talk about Leonard, Harden, and Murray, they need to at least shoot 15 to 20 times to beat you. Joker is the guy that can shoot it 20 times and beat you, or he can shoot it 8 times and beat you. So he can beat you in a multitude of ways where the other 3, they really need to score. But the Joker can beat you, with his brain, with his passing and getting others involved. And we've seen him win basketball games by only taking 9 shots. That's how smart he is.
I mentioned home court. You mentioned home court about 72% of the time. The home team wins these games. What's the formula for Kawhi Leonard, for James Harden, and the Clippers to defy those odds?
And I think obviously, have one of those games. You're not turning it over, giving them those home run, I would say, pick 6 turnovers for scores. But I also think the mindset of one of them is try to get a Jamal Murray or Jokic in foul trouble. Get them off the court as much as you can, because if they're off the court, gives you a better chance.
More coming up here as well. The end of one era and a new beginning upstairs for the league's all-time winningest coach. The NBA's career coaching wins leader says he's coached his last game. Gregg Popovich hasn't coached the Spurs since suffering a stroke in November, and Friday he announced he'll head upstairs as the team's full-time president of basketball operations. Spurs also named interim head coach Mitch Johnson as Pop's permanent replacement. Among the many highlights of his Hall of Fame resume, more than 1,400 regular season wins, 5 championships, an Olympic title, and a massive coaching tree that includes both of Friday night's Game 6 coaches.
So before I start, Pop's going to kill me for wearing this shirt. He's going to call me a hapless rube for wearing the shirt. But no, I just want to say thank you to Pop and to the Spurs organization for everything that they meant to me in my career. I know this is a pretty emotional day for the Spurs. It is for the entire NBA. The number of people Pop has influenced, the number of coaches in his coaching tree, it's just incredible. But Pop is one of the most important people in my life for many, many reasons. And most of them go way beyond basketball. But it's a sad day. It's also an encouraging day.
A little bit of everything. I'd be up here all night if I told all the stories and all the impact. But obviously, as a professional, I played 2.5 years for him, coached 7, so spent 10 years of my life, and but that's probably the least important. It's the person aspect that you talked about, and the daily messages, the lessons that we all learn and think back on, and it's a bittersweet day, obviously, for all of us. But happy he's in a good place, and happy he's good with his family, and so just special day, special person. Obviously, one of the best to do it, or the best to do it, and glad I got a chance to work with him, learn from him, and call him a friend.
Gregg Popovich is really a unique figure in the history of the NBA and basketball as well, and you won a championship under him. What made him great?
Adaptability. I think that's the one thing, is being able to change on the fly, change after season, change the style of play of the Spurs. It was crazy when after I got finished playing, Zeke, say let people shoot 20, 30 threes. We didn't get a chance to do that. So I just think his adaptability, but I think also the next for me, Matt, his communication skills. And it's also being able to mirror what's best for the individual and the team versus a lot of people what's just best for the team. He kind of blends both of those.
You had a coach against him. What made his team stand out?
You know, first of all, their toughness. You know, he being from East Chicago, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, you know, that place. So he brought a certain kind of toughness to not only the way he played, but the way he coached. And, you know, when you look at what he was able to do with his teams, and the thing I admired the most about him, Smitty, he was always willing to learn, right? Every time, you know, you played against him, he was talking to you or asking you questions about your team. He was a forever learner. He always wanted to get better, to make the game better. And you can see with his coaching tree how he taught. And those are the most impressive things to me. And coaching against him, you know, there was always a new thing that he would pull out. He would pull out a play from like 1973 or something, you know, the Bonnie cut, and you'd have to try to figure out how to guard against that. He always had tricks, and whenever he coached against the international teams or the international coaches, he would always bring something back. And that's the thing that I admired about him the most. He was always learning.
And beyond basketball, he was always willing to take stands on difficult issues.
Yes.
When it came to justice and a variety of different topics.
And Matt, he had one favorite player that he had in his office. It was a jersey of John Havlicek, number 17.
Yep.
That was his guy.
An extraordinary influence on his teams and the game of basketball as well. Headed to the president of basketball operations office with the Spurs. Ahead here with the summer before them, time for the Lakers to start looking for ways to build around Luka Doncic. What's next in L.A.? The Lakers are among the teams looking toward next season after their elimination by the Timberwolves. L.A. ended up with 50 wins thanks to a lift from the Luka Doncic trade in early February. And at age 40, LeBron still averaged 25 a game in their playoff series, but it was their second straight early exit.
In your mind, what are some of the ways this team needs to get better in order to get back and get another flag?
The work that's required in an offseason to be in championship shape. We have a ways to go as a roster, and certainly there are individuals that were in phenomenal shape. There's certainly other ones that could have been in better shape. We have to get in championship shape.
This team and this roster needs more size and needs a center position. That's a very clear and obvious byproduct of trading potentially the best big in the league. The trade deadline and the moments up to it don't allow you the requisite time to explore every single unturned stone to add a big to our roster. We just didn't have the time after the Luka trade, but now we do. The one thing we know about the NBA is there's always new and unexpected opportunities around the corner. My focus is going to be on that and making sure that next year we have the requisite size to have a team that can compete for a championship.
Rob Pelinka mentioned the size issue, which was apparent. What else, Zeke, should the Lakers be focusing on this summer?
I would say they identified the two things. Now, can you do them? You know, and being in championship shape, right, that does go back to, you know, your coaching and your coaching staff and how you work with your players over the summer and everything. So if the team is not in championship shape, that is a reflection on the coaching staff also, right? And in bigs, you know, Pelinka's got to do a good job of, you know, sizing up and making sure he gets tall enough players that the coach wants to play.
And Matt, I mean, defense for me. Whether it's size, whether it's the unfortunate part for them, their big three are all smalls per se. They play the 1, 2, or 3. And their big three is whatever range you want to put is Luka, LeBron, Luka, then Austin Reeves are not the best defenders.
Right.
So you got to keep them. You're going to have them. But to add to them, you're going to have some versatile guys that's a 4 and a 5 that can switch out all these pick and rolls and be able to contain and also protect the rim. Luka had that in Dallas.
Yeah.
They don't have that in L.A.
Or the lob targets he had in Dallas as well. I assume LeBron is going to be back next season. He hasn't said he will, but I think he may be a vampire. So it's possible.
41 next year.
41 next year. Also, Luka, his contract extension eligible this summer. There's that business as well.
Yeah.
For Zeeks and Smitty, I'm Matt. We'll see you soon. Thanks for being there for Playoff Central Live.